Welcome back to another fun-filled episode of TigerBytes, where we feature all of the fun stuff going on across campus in the general realm of online learning. Today we have one of the true innovators of Auburn University, Ali Sattari, who's probably our leading expert on extended reality. What exactly is extended reality? For those who don't really understand it.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. XR, which stands for extended reality, is an umbrella term for all the immersive technology mediums, which includes augmented reality, AR, virtual reality, VR, and mixed reality, MR. Virtual reality is basically you're disconnected from the actual reality. All you see is through the headset. Augmented reality, on the other hand, is the opposite way. You are only seeing, the augmentation on the device that you're holding. That used to be, mobile phones. Now you see new devices, for example, the recent medical, glasses. Right. And then mixed reality is something in between, which doesn't, block your view entirely. You can still, see the environment around. But you're still being immersed in the environment that was programmed.
Gotcha. So when I was a kid, there would occasionally be a 3D movie, and we'd have to wear these glasses where I think one lens was red and the other was blue.
Here we go. Yeah.
I guess that's the precursor of extended reality.
Yeah. So I mean, sometimes people think this is kind of new, but it's been going on for decades, literally for multiple decades. And when you look at the early versions of these glasses, it's just unbelievable. I mean, the core technology is the same, as you mentioned, but to see how far the technology has come is just fascinating.
Can you walk us through your creative process when designing immersive learning experiences?
Yeah, so we actually always start with the learning outcomes, because at the end of the day, we are designing a solution for the problem, which is basically the subject matter that the faculties are trying to teach, and we are trying to design it in the best, I guess, in a way that makes more sense for the students. So we always start with that so that we can have a good understanding of the core, function of this application, what this application is supposed to be. And then after that, we go back and try to see, okay, now that we know what we're supposed to make, now let's get to work and, figure out how to bring it to life. So that's usually how, we start the projects.
So you don't want to have a bunch of just fun, high-tech stuff for the sake of having fun, high-tech stuff. It has to be targeted at goals we're trying to accomplish.
Absolutely. So we actually get a lot of, it's funny, sometimes people think that we advocate for the technology for the sake of the technology, and the advocacy for the pedagogy comes from, faculties. But it's usually the other way around. They want to use the technology because they're super excited to use the technology in their classroom, and rightfully so. I mean, I totally get it. But at the same time, we gotta think about a way that this technology is being implemented in the most effective way. So for that reason, we try to step back and first ask the first principle question, right, to see what this application is supposed to do, and is it actually helpful, or is it better to use another medium? And then after having a solid ground that we know, the use case is solid, and we can build actually something useful out of that, then we start exploring, okay, let's discuss, how to develop this program.
Gotcha. So could you share a behind-the-scenes look at one of your favorite XR projects, and why is it one of your favorites?
It's hard to pick one. They're so unique in their own way that, they're all super fun. But one project that we actually learned a lot was the food safety project. It was one of the few projects that we started not really knowing what we're doing and trying out to see what actually works. For that project, we did the exact same, method that I just talked
Right.
about. We actually, like the subject matter expert, Mark Trainer, um, he was super excited to use the technology and develop, the material for the headset right off the bat. But then once we started questioning about how we want to use it, like how many students are supposed to use it, then we got the conclusion that, okay, maybe starting with the headset is not the best solution for, beginning of this program. Simply because, the number of students that were supposed to use the program, um, and also like the amount of content that they wanted to, convey, because realistically, you don't want to have your, students sitting in these headsets for like 2 hours, right? So what we ended up doing was designing like a web VR program first for the content they had, and we tried to cover as much content as we could possibly do. And then that became the first phase of the program. And then from the beginning, we had the second phase planned, which was using the same content, but making it a little bit more immersive, so that the students who are already somehow familiar with the content now get to actually immerse themselves into the environment, to being able to connect with the content or consume the content in a better way. So that's what we ended up doing.
So you guys collect feedback both formally and informally on the student experience, the faculty experience with extended reality. And I
Mhm.
imagine most of the feedback is positive, like, wow, I really enjoyed this. Have you gotten any surprising feedback, like, oh, this inspires me to want to be a designer myself, or this gave me a serious headache, I don't want to ever do it again? Any sort of surprises?
Yes, we sell it. So, like, actually, another program that we've designed for the chemistry, we call it ChemXR. It's for understanding the SNR concept a little bit better in a more immersive way. We actually got a lot of constructive feedback,
Mm.
so that we could use to improve that. And then we did a lot of improvement over the pilot programs that we did. But after launching that, we received a lot of I mean, of course, a lot of positive feedback in terms of like being effective, but also some great suggestions that we actually used for improving the program in the second round. And the second round, not only we redesigned the parts that we learned that we could do better from the first phase, but we also used that, I guess, approach for the second phase of the
Hmm.
program, and design something better.
So you work a lot with the instructional designers as well as faculty. How do you orchestrate a collaborative process to bring these extended reality ideas to life? I know you said you start with the learning outcome.
When it comes to collaboration with instructional designers, again, like they have a perspective that me and my team certainly don't. They ask the questions that we may neglect, Um, but yeah, so that's where, I mean, I guess the value that they bring, and they usually start, again, like asking these questions to fully understand what we are trying to achieve,
Mm.
designing the um, structure of the program in a way that, of course, it's useful in a pedagogical environment, or I guess for that goal. And then after that, we start brainstorming, and like we always try to have different roles in the meetings, right? So like if the instructional designers are asking about pedagogy side of things, we usually have either myself or someone from the team who can bring the technology side and help them brainstorming and kind of understand what's possible or what could be challenging within the time and resources that we have. So yeah, I mean, it's pretty collaborative in a way that each person brings their own, um, expertise, and at
Mm.
the end we try to work in a team in a kind of orchestrated way so that we can achieve the outcome.
I know from the faculty perspective, like in my mind, it's obvious what I'm trying to achieve, but having somebody like an instructional designer ask those questions, like, what are you really trying to accomplish here? And is this the best way to do it? It really forces you to kind of take
Hmm.
a step back
Think
and
about it
think
again.
through, well, what exactly am I trying to
Hmm.
accomplish here? And what I thought was obviously the way to go may not be the obviously
Right.
the way to go. So there's probably some people watching or listening that are on faculty that are kind of intrigued by this, but maybe a little hesitant to get involved. What sort of advice would you give them to kind of become acquainted with extended reality at a level that would let them make a decision about, do I want to call up Big EO and have a conversation about this?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. Usually, if they are interested, if they're curious about the technology, that means they already see the value, and if they see the value, the hesitation usually comes from, I guess, I don't want to use the word fear, but maybe the concern they have over how much involvement they need to
Mm,
have.
could be a big time sink.
Exactly, yeah. And frankly, they don't even need to have like a fully fledged idea. Like we usually
Mm,
help them with the ideation as well, as long as they have like a vision of knowing like what like how they want to use the technology in the classroom. We help them to develop that idea and get it to something actually useful. If they're curious and are interested to see how they can use this technology, they can just reach out and
mhm.
we can start from there.
So, new tools are coming out all the
Hmm.
time. Is there anything super cool that you're looking at the moment that might be incorporated at Auburn?
Yes, there are a ton, and they will be incorporated.
Mm,
It's just a matter of a question of when. I mentioned earlier, like there are a lot of new mediums actually come to the market, especially now with the AI. The industry, I feel like, is shifting towards changing the way we interface with the technology. It keeps going towards a way that we can actually put on the gadget, whatever that might be. It could be a smart watch or a glass,
mm,
and then forget about it. It just like exists in our daily life, as opposed to the, I guess, existing or the previous round of these devices. They're too bulky to ignore them, right? So like you can't just put on a headset and just pretend that it doesn't exist. You
right,
are
right.
constantly aware that you are interacting with that piece of technology. There are a lot of new glasses, like natural form factor glasses that are coming to market. You put on
Mm,
the glasses. In fact, other people when they look at you, they may not even recognize that you have a
right.
some kind of smart or technological device with you, but in fact you do.
As you were talking, I was thinking about those pictures of computers from the 1960s where it takes up the whole
That's right.
room.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, beside the medium, as I mentioned, like, I think the main shift is going to be the interface.
Mm,
And not only for XR, that's true for everything. When you think about it, the rate of which we interact with our technology devices is super slow. We are talking right now, right? The way that we can communicate these ideas from, I mean, I can communicate my idea from my head to you is by saying some words. And it's super slow. Like if you put that in bits, it's probably like, I don't know, less than 10 kilobyte.
mm,
It's super small. And when you compare that to the rate of which the computers communicate, it's just not a comparison, right? So I think, and same goes with the current way that we are talking to the machines. The way that you see the technology is going, it's certainly going to be much faster and much more intuitive and seamless. Of course, when you, for example, look at what Neuralink is doing, and they've implemented that in some, actually, some humans, some actual people are using
So
it
people
now.
are like visually impaired. They get
Yes.
implants that help them to see in effect.
Absolutely. I think the case is, I think for 5 or 6 people having those devices right now, not to advocate for the company or the technology, it still needs to do a lot of development to get safe, and usable. But the direction that it's going is fascinating. The fact that they can think and control the computer, um, at first, is of course it sounds fascinating, but then when you think more about it, it's natural. That's the way it should be.
I don't know if you're a science fiction guy, but Star Trek had this character,
Yeah.
Geordi LaForge, with a visor,
Right.
that's substituted for vision, and it sounds like we're kind of
You're heading
moving
that
in
way.
that
Absolutely.
direction
Yeah. Yeah.
in a big way. Um, So let's go to the lightning round and ask you some fun
Let's do
questions.
it.
Strangest place you have heard someone say War Eagle?
Uh, I actually heard it. Someone said it to me at the airport. I was,
Hopefully not in the bathroom.
no, actually, that's funny. No, I was, having an Auburn T-shirt, and someone saw it, and I'm sure they were also from Auburn, and said War Eagle. Yeah.
What's a little known place on campus you think everyone should visit at least once?
Ooh, that's a good one. I wouldn't say it's little known, but the rooftop bar in the Rain Center is a good place.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, everybody should give it a visit.
The place I really like to send people is the steps between Louder Hall and Triple H, our new business building,
Yes.
where they have the Auburn Creed on the front of all of the steps. That's just a phenomenal place to hang out, revisit some of those lines, great photo op.
Absolutely. Yeah.
As a designer, do you have a favorite architectural detail of Auburn's campus that others might overlook? With your designer's eyes or anything you look at and say, wow, that's really cool?
Auburn has a beautiful campus. I've visited, many campuses, other schools. Auburn certainly stands out. Well, I should say first, I'm not an architect, so hopefully my pick wouldn't offend anyone. But I would say I really love the landscaping in front of Sanford Hall, especially in the morning, like when you walk, towards, alongside the South Cottage around like 8, 9 a.m. It's just beautiful,
They do a fantastic job with the
Yes.
landscaping on this campus. And the spring when everything's blooming, it's just like
Absolutely.
amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you being here on TigerBytes.
Absolutely.
You're both a very thoughtful and a very creative person, and that's not an easy combination to find. So we're lucky to have
Thank you for having me.
That's all for this episode of TigerBytes. Please join us again next time. Thank you for joining us for this episode of TigerBytes. We hope you enjoyed the conversation and gained some valuable insights. Please like, subscribe, and share this podcast with your friends and colleagues. You can find us on all major platforms, and keep learning, keep growing, and we'll see you next time on TigerBytes.